Hi everyone, this is Christian Oman with another tutorial for building logic trees. This time it is a current reality tree that we are going to build. The case is about wasting significant productive capacity in a pharmaceutical plant. And the content of this tutorial is as follows. A quick reminder about the usage of a current reality tree and why choosing to build one in this case. Building the tree from the undesirable effects down to the critical root causes, straightening the logic for communication and educational purpose. The starting point is the waste of significant productive capacity and all evidences pointing towards the main culprit, namely excessive time for changeovers. Changeovers in pharmaceutical industry are something critical, because it is a main opportunity to mix up parts or substances from the finishing batch with the following one. Standards and regulation are very severe and no pollution of any kind is accepted. It is even tougher when washdown or sterilization is required. Absolutely no production can resume as long as the changeover isn't complete and the production line cleared by an authorized person. While nobody wants to compromise quality, it is more and more important to improve productivity as competition gets fiercer. And even in 2020, changeovers remain one of the main levers for better exploiting the installed capacity. A current reality tree is generally used to uncover the critical root causes of an undesirable effect when the situation or problem is complex and difficult to handle with other problem-solving methods and tools. Here the identification of the critical root causes is not so difficult, but I want to use another interesting feature of the current reality tree, its ability to be used as a communication tool. My goal in this case is to convince managers to change some of their practices with a logical demonstration of the cause and effect linking practices to undesirable effects. If you'd like to learn more about the current reality tree, please check the link in the description of this video on my YouTube channel. Here is our starting point with the top of the tree already in place. Let's warm up and get used to the reading of a current reality tree. When reading a current reality tree, CRT, we always start from the bottom. Here we go. If changeover durations exceed the time really required for changeover, and if during changeover no production can happen, then no production can happen during the excess of time used for changeover. On the other side, if all changeovers have excessive durations, and if changeovers are frequent, then excessive time accumulated for changeover is significant. And now combining both branches, if excess time accumulated for changeovers is significant, and if no production can happen during the excess of time used for changeover, then significant production capacity is wasted. We now want to drill down to the causes why changeover durations exceed the time really required for a changeover. Our findings reveal 6 causes. I read clockwise. Actual sequence of changeover task is not optimum. Changeover duration is not minimized. Standard times, which means time allocations for changeovers, are too generous. Operators do not care about changeover duration. Changeover durations exceed standard time. And task coordination during changeover is poor. These are causes, but not critical root causes. We'd like, for instance, to understand why changeover duration is not minimized. The answers are: SMED methodology is not known on one hand, and there is no incentive to improve performance on the other hand. Before drilling deeper into causality, I add some rational arguments to support the first causes and read them for checking their robustness. For instance, if there is an optimum sequence of changeover tasks for keeping changeovers short, and if actual sequence of changeover task is not optimum, then changeover duration exceeds the time really required for changeover. Makes sense. Now, as an exercise, read aloud for yourself the next highlighted entities and causality relationships. You may pause the video anytime to accommodate your own pace. Now, why are the standard time allocations for changeover too generous? Because standard times are exceedingly generous in general. Why are standard times exceedingly generous? Because industrial engineering is required to add extra allocation of time. And why is that? Because if management is afraid to stress operators for the sake of quality and safety, and if the pressure to speed up is a stress factor, then industrial engineering is required to add extra allocation of time, in other words, to be generous when defining standard times. If management is afraid to stress operators for the sake of quality and safety, then management is not demanding nor challenging. If management is not demanding nor challenging, then operators go on as they like. If operators go on as they like, then operators do not care about changeover duration. We will come back on that soon. If operators do not care about changeover duration, then changeover duration exceeds the time really required for changeover. Fact is that the management is not on the shop floor. If management is not on the shop floor, then operators are not challenged nor supervised to minimize changeover duration. If operators are not challenged nor supervised to minimize changeover duration, and if operators go on as they like, then operators do not care about changeover duration. This addition of the management not on the shop floor makes the last entity stronger. If management is not on the shop floor, then task coordination during changeover is poor. Mainly because managers can oversee the changeovers while people on the shop floor are involved and more focused on details. And we know that coordination is key to reduce changeover duration. Thus, if task coordination during changeover is poor, then changeover duration exceeds the time really required for changeover. If management is not on the shop floor, then operators are left on their own. If operators are left on their own, and unexpected events happen during a changeover, and procedures do not take unexpected events into account, then operators wait for instruction. If operators wait for instruction and no allowance for wait time is included in standard time, then changeover durations exceed standard time, which ultimately leads to changeover durations exceed the time really required for the changeover. If operators are left on their own and unexpected events happen during changeover and procedures do not take unexpected events into account, then operators adapt to circumstances. If operators adapt to circumstances and operators do not care about changeover duration, then again changeover duration exceeds the time really required for changeover. That makes the complete current reality tree with addition of some entities for tightening and making sure the logic is sound and will not be disputed. Here are those extra entities highlighted in blue. If we take them out, the CRT looks like that. And the critical root causes are highlighted in amber. Remember, a critical root cause is the lowest level of causality lying within the sphere of influence to change. Among these 4 critical root causes, 3 are of the responsibility of management. That was my initial intent, to demonstrate how management's behavior or practices can have detrimental effect on overall performance. I don't expect the managers to be happy and to agree with the conclusion, but if the logic is sound and robust, they cannot reject any of the entities. If they keep arguing, it's more likely because they don't like what it implies. I would not recommend to leave out the padding entities to straighten the logic, because it makes the demonstration a lot more robust and can avoid disputes. With this walkthrough, you've got a feeling about drilling down from the undesirable effect to the critical root causes, and about reading or presenting a current reality tree. I hope you have found interest and value in this episode. If yes, give me a thumb up and share it. See you on one of my channels.